Hello and welcome to the Bold Black Girls podcast. I'm Aries.
And I am Kim.
Good afternoon, Kim.
Great afternoon, Aries. How are you?
I
Tea
am
time.
wonderful, blessed, and highly favored. Yes, let me get my
Amen.
tea. Sips tea.
Sips tea. You said
um,
blessed and highly favored. Rested and rejuvenated.
yes, you are. You had a lot of naps yesterday.
I did. I think majority of the day I napped. Probably from about 12 until 8. And then I went to
That-
bed.
That's interesting.
I know.
Yeah, I didn't nap yesterday. I did nap one day this week. Um, I don't really nap, but I just been kind of resting, not necessarily napping. Me and Marvin took a nap. Was that Thursday that I texted
It
you?
was either Wednesday or Thursday. I thought that was so cute. You sent me a picture of him in the bed with you.
That was Thursday. Yeah, we I was off Thursday and Friday. So he's been really I'm not gonna say clingy, but he's been really wanting to
Spend more
he's
time
been
with you.
noticeably wanting to spend time with me. So I'm like, this is cool because he's not that kid. He has not been that kid. So when he wants to just come sit with me, I'll go outside in the middle of the day sometimes and just sit in the backyard. And if they see me go out there, they'll usually come uh,
Oh.
and go out there. So I had noticed that they, would do that. And so they'll just come sit with me like, well, so I'm like, hey. But that day I was like, I need a nap. I feel like I need a nap. And he was like, I'll nap with you. And I'm like, okay, you sure? Because, I'm like, I'm for real. He was like, no, for real. I'll do it. I'll take a nap. I'm like, okay. And we were out. And then he was asleep hard. Like I had to wake him up. He was sweating.
I like that type of bonding naps. Remember we
I
were
know
doing
you
napping
do. Yes. And so yeah, anywho, we were we had a good little nap. He was sweating. I was like, dang, you sweating? He was like, yeah, I was kind of, he's like, I was into it. I was getting deep into it. I'm like, yeah, you need that every now and then. Naps are good. Remember they used to make you take them at school and stuff?
Oh yeah, and I'm a believer in that. If your kids come with me, if they're with me
They
for more
will.
than 8 hours, they will get a nap, or they will sit down because we're in a time now where children don't know how to be still and
True.
just sit right
True.
without doing anything, and that might mean a nap. I mean, you can watch TV, but they always feel like they need to be connected or playing something or touching something.
Yeah,
And
like LJ, he was playing video games or something while we were napping, and he just would like come in and peek and see what we were doing, and he like, oh, take a nap. Let
he's
me
like,
get
I
out
don't
of
want to
here.
be part of that.
He's like, I'm good.
He's like, I don't want to nap.
Yeah, he didn't want to be a part of it, so that was cool. I definitely am into that. I haven't
Naps
really
are
napped
life.
during the week, but that was one day that I needed it. I just felt it in my body, and then on Saturday, well, what day was that? Friday. Was that the day? I think Thursday was the day that I was telling them like I'm not doing anything. Yeah, that
It
was
was.
Thursday. And I was like, they came in, they got the routine down. Like they showered, they had gotten some breakfast or whatever, wanted to just check on the time of what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm on vacation today, so y'all can do your thing. Like, I don't know what you're gonna be doing. It
So they're
won't
pretty
be
self
under my
sufficient.
direction. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, I definitely give direction to a certain degree, but like I'm like, hey, y'all need to wash those towels or wash the clothes, fold them, put them in the dryer, all that kind of stuff. And they know how to do that. Like they know what that means. They know how to put the detergent in, the fabric softener, and all that. Like they might confirm a couple things, like should it be on cold or this or that, something like that. But I'm at the point where I'm like, life skills training is definitely in full effect at this point.
Absolutely. Life skills. And this is the perfect time to teach those life skills. I mean, we have nothing else to do but be at home. So I'm hoping parents are leveraging their time as an opportunity to show them these life skills.
I'm actually going to be recording an episode today for Scratching and Surviving where I'm going to talk about parenting in 2020. So if you want to have a full out parenting, I guess I'm going to do like a crash course on what I'm doing as a parent during this time with my two boys. So if you want to hear more about that, tune in to
So
Scratching and
funny
Surviving.
thing, I was going to ask you about that. Like, have you recorded? It was on my mind today. I was like, I need to ask her, has she recorded anything outside of the Bold Black Girls?
No, I haven't because, and actually that's something that I put in my like intro for this one because I'm like, with the coronavirus, the racial injustice and all that junk going on, like literally, I feel like emotionally I'm stretched, to a certain degree to where with Scratching and Surviving, I really had to feel inspired to say, like, I'm on here every week talking about how I feel about everything. And it was like, just yesterday, I had got this urge, kind of like, everybody been talking to you about your parenting, during this time. People have been saying something regarding how I'm parenting during this thing. And I'm like, hey,
Parenting in a pandemic.
yeah. And so I'm like, this is something that I'm sure people could benefit from, because I'm seeing benefits. I'm seeing value in what we're doing. And so I'm going to share that with others so that maybe they can. Obviously, all of our lives are different. You're not going to have the exact same results as me. It's different circumstances, different players involved, and stuff
Right.
like that. But I think there are some key things that can be of value to other, parents right now with dealing with the coronavirus part of it, as well as the racial part of it, that you're forced to have conversations with your kids now about things that maybe you weren't used to. So it's a process that you kind of got to go through yourself first.
I agree.
And then bring your children along with you. And I've seen this tremendous results as far as our relationship growing over this course of time, since the shutdown to now. I feel like I know my sons way better. Like they know me way better. Like I'm able to find those opportunities as a mom to fit in lessons that are of value. And it challenges me because I have to say to myself, what are your biases and your things that you don't want? I don't want my sons to do what I'm doing if it's wrong, right? It's a lot. Yep. So I'm going to talk about that. So if you're interested, go subscribe to Scratching and Surviving so that when it's posted, you will get notified. Other than that, what you do? What did you do yesterday? Did you celebrate the 4th of July?
No, because my people weren't free.
Come on, somebody.
I got that text message from a non-Black friend. She's like, "Oh, what you doing for the 4th of July?" I said, "Well, my people weren't free then. So now that I know better, I'm gonna do better, and I don't intend to celebrate that."
It hit different, didn't it?
It hit different, which maybe I'll be honest with you. So, I feel like sometimes with all of those emotions that you talked about, right? One of the ways that my body responds to emotion is shut down, go take a nap, and I feel refreshed from it. So this year marked, this was the anniversary of my dad's death. So I don't know if all the emotions, your body will feel those things. Mm-hmm. And so this was his favorite holiday, but I'm thinking to myself, damn, he wasn't educated. So he was celebrating this holiday, but really wasn't 10 years removed from being a slave and didn't realize, this wasn't for us. So.
And how many of us have done that with a lot of things? I think it's a lot of the problem is not being educated on what's really going on and really just being like caught up in the routine of the traditions instead of actually learning more about what is Independence Day? What was it? Why do we celebrate it? There was a reason that we celebrate it as a country. And if you really look at that and say, oh, and by the way, it was like 100 years later that Black people were actually free. So, yeah, I mean, it's something to think about. I think it goes along with that same conversation about the national anthem, and we can go down the line to the Pledge of Allegiance and all the things that we could, it's so many things that we could really do. But I think that's something that we can use this time for. Mm-hmm. Which is educating ourselves on the things that we've been taught, because I do believe we've been brainwashed, for lack of a better term, of what patriotism is, what are we actually pledging our allegiance to? Yes. And does it connect with who you are and your core values and what you want to be? Does it have to be what it is? It doesn't have to be what it always has been. So, we got a lot of new normals popping up out of this.
We do, and I'll say this. Two things. Thankful for technology for two reasons.
Yes.
The video to expose this, but then the technology to educate us, because we can use the resources to learn more. Because I think I went back and read something about Frederick Douglass's speech as it relates to the 4th of July for slaves or for African Americans. So took the time to do that. And then 4th of July, summertime, what does every Black woman think? Essence Fest. Right?
Essence Fest. That was one of our goals for this year. Remember we were like,
we had a couple of goals.
We had a couple. I'm like, we're gonna be at the Essence Fest. We gonna
Afrotech.
We got the Bold Black Girls gonna be at the Essence Fest. Like that was on one of our little things. Afrotech was also another one, but it's like, all the things that we're used to this, on a yearly basis is gone. But they did have Essence Fest
virtually.
Weekend. It's still going on virtually.
Yes. So
how you been feeling about virtual events?
Certain ones I'm okay with. I miss, you miss being out there, but to be honest with you, this year was okay because I'm in a season of solitude. So I'm okay with it. Those virtual events, not where you have to log in and show your face and speak, but where I can listen and learn.
I like that too.
Yeah,
I've been liking it. We had the same kind of thing when we were dealing with when we were celebrating Juneteenth. And I didn't really tune into the Essence Festival a lot because I did kind of feel like it was similar, to some of the other ones. I'm going to go back and look at a lot of it because it is good content. So it was just kind of like content overwhelm at a point. But, and I was kind of going down a rabbit hole on some other stuff yesterday, some other things that I was watching. And so, yeah, I'm going to go back for sure because there was some good conversations that took place during that. So I know they had a performance by Usher last night.
Yeah, I didn't watch the performances. I'm more so tuned into like the sessions.
The conversations.
Yeah, because I can have my own concert over here with my own playlist.
True. Very true.
Yeah, but
just did we ever talk about the BET Awards?
No, we didn't because that was last Sunday.
We should. I know that was after we recorded, huh?
Yes.
What did you think about the BET Awards?
I enjoyed this year's BET.
I did too.
Better than any other.
And I think also there's a couple factors why I think I enjoyed it. Obviously, right now we on some blackity black right now. Like I'm loving all the love for the Black community. I think it was structured a lot different. Obviously, it was virtual, but Amanda killed it. She
really did. I liked her.
She killed it, but she also
educated.
And she was able to leverage what she's been doing really for years at this point, which is her virtual
experiences,
content.
Funny Black. Yep.
Her being on IG every day, talking. And they showed the behind the scenes on how they recorded it with the green screen behind her. I'm like, that's crazy. Like she had outfit changes and everything. It was all by green screen. Wow. And it definitely looked really good, but they were able to edit it. It wasn't live. So I liked it because I feel like they were able to really make it what they wanted it to be. Typically it's live and there's always something that goes wrong when they do it live.
Yeah.
Almost every time you'll have somebody like, can you scroll the teleprompter?
Right.
Like it's always somebody saying something. So I feel like they were able to actually do it the way that they wanted to.
It was one of the better BET Awards shows that I have really enjoyed. And it was like, you had to focus in on that person and that artist. They had to be creative. Because think about Meg Thee Stallion. She went somewhere in some desert in Texas with this whole production crew to create that whole routine. And I was like, yes.
I liked it too. Everybody got a chance to, all the performances they were in their own space, creating their thing. That was cool. I loved Amanda's monologue.
I did too.
She gets a lot of flack for calling out racism. She's always done that. And people either like her or hate her. That's just the type of person.
I don't even think it's a middle.
Yeah, there's no middle with her. Either you love her or hate her. But her monologue had me cracking up because she just was like, who better to host the BET Awards? Who, you know, I've been telling y'all folks
and I've been speaking about the Karens in the 80s.
I cracked up. So that was cute. I was like, wait a minute, we talking about Essence Fest. We didn't even talk about the BET Awards. Like, I usually don't even watch. I had not been watching BET Awards for the last couple of years. I had kind of been off of award shows. Honestly, all of the award shows, Oscars, Grammys, all that. I was just like, I'm over it. It feels like it's so obvious that other people have their voice in it that are not representative of the people who, you know, are really doing the work. So I was like, it's just like some more politics, you know, who's gonna win, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So I was kind of over it. But it was a different one. So I liked it.
It was really,
I liked it a lot.
The other thing that I would say I did is I'm continuing to support Black businesses.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What did you have any particular this week or?
I went to Off the Bone Barbecue, and
how was that?
It was good. I ate off of it for 3 days.
What all did you get?
I just got like meat. So we had some chicken, we had some ribs, because I just didn't feel like cooking.
Yeah.
I just haven't been in the mode of wanting to get out there, sweat and grill, and you know, so I just was like, let me go support a Black business.
Yeah, I hear you. My friend Stephanie, she created like this little app. Well, not even an app. She didn't create an app. She's using Google Maps and she's plugged in like all these Black businesses. So like if you go in it and you're close to one, you can see which ones are close to where you are so that you can go support them.
I like that.
I haven't been anywhere, so it's kind of like...
You sure haven't.
But online, I do support Black businesses. Actually, on our website, I have linked to... because we have a section called resources, where we are putting, just as it comes, I'm putting links up on different things that we could do. And 2 of them I added was on books to read when you want to become an ally. Go read these books. That's there. And books on policing and mass incarceration. Those are the things that are really the topics that we've been talking about recently. With regards to the George Floyd situation, all this really kind of stems down to policing in America and what we are, the system as a whole, and where we need to totally start from scratch, basically. So there's some books there about that. I'm starting to read a lot of those. Obviously, I haven't read every single book on all this stuff either, and I'm educating myself. So I've been reading a lot of books and trying to just learn the things that I did not care about before this. You know, it's a lot of things that, if we're honest, like, well, the reason we don't know about some of this because we just didn't care. Like, we just did not prioritize it. It wasn't our passion, our purpose, whatever we felt like at that time. But now I'm starting to learn, like, oh my God, like, I feel like a brand new baby. Like, I just started really digging into the behind the curtains on a lot of things, and it's eye-opening. And I think everybody should really take a stab at just trying to start learning about what we call our country, how it was built and put together, and the systems that are in place that create these different division and this hierarchy of privilege, basically. So,
and this is a great opportunity. I know you're going to be doing your podcast for Scratching and Surviving, but since we're at home, perfect opportunity to educate our kids on their history, like week by week. You can plan it out. Like, we're gonna start with the civil rights moment, or back all the way through slavery, and then
together. Because I'm learning. We're all learning. If you were raised in America, you were not taught this. So if you didn't come from like revolutionary militant parents, nobody was telling you or teaching you this stuff. If you didn't go to HBCU or a predominantly, African American school that was teaching this stuff, then it didn't just fall in your lap. You have to go search for it just like any other person that's not of color. So just because you're Black doesn't mean you know your history. That doesn't mean that you know all the things. So there's a lot to it. There's different opinions about things. So you got to learn how to kind of intellectually sort through the information. It's so much information. You got one book that says this thing and one that could contradict it all the way. And you got to figure out what you want to believe about what's going on. So it's just a matter of being a educated citizen and not just going by the whim. Like, I'm not the type that'll be like, oh, I'm just gonna register Democrat because this, and
correct,
and vote this way because of this, or be Republican because of this, and
you want to know what their agenda is and how it impacts you and your people.
we got to be smart. If you're in Texas right now, we're doing early voting, so that is for our state representative and our senator, I believe, as well as I think some railroad commissioner or something. It's only like 3 or 4 things on the ballot. But do not forget, because July 14th is the day of voting. Early voting is best to kind of minimize voter suppression issues. You wait till the day of. You kind of got to stand in line. If you have early voting in your state, please do that. I think that probably would be a better way to kind of get that out of the way early.
Especially with COVID.
Yeah. And people don't give a damn about COVID, apparently.
They're upset. So here in Texas, the governor, because of the increases, recently mandated that everywhere in the state of Texas, you must wear a mask at any establishment. Yeah. And I snuck over to Eatzi's yesterday and had an oatmeal after my workout. See, I earned it.
So don't judge my earning. You could have told me.
I snuck over there and they mandated, it's clear as day. But there are people still walking up as if, oh, I'm bigger than that. Like, that is beyond me. That is not applicable to me. And I even saw a woman with her child walk in without a mask. So you can't even, we have to follow the law. We are used to following laws and rules put in place. Others, they don't like to be told what to do. They want to be the ones in control, not the ones being controlled.
It's really eye-opening and telling of the privilege, right? It is so, the people who are doing this, who are saying, I shouldn't have to wear a mask, and they're like literally arguing people down, are typically the people who also don't like to say Black Lives Matter. And it's something I've been trying to actually, because I'm doing some like not extensive research or nothing, but I've been trying to tie it together. Like, what is it about this group of people right here that are so, they don't believe that the coronavirus is even a real thing. They don't like the fact that they're being told what to do. And they just want to oppose things just to oppose them, it seems. It's like, I just saw this thing out in Contra Costa County where I'm from, in the Bay Area, but this is like in a city called Martinez, but they had did a Black Lives Matter in the middle of the street, like mural thing. And this lady out there just pouring black paint all over it. And I'm like, why are you so adamant against something?
The opposition.
You are willing to, I've seen too many videos recently. We had a lady in Texas who was throwing all her groceries out the basket on the floor because she didn't want to have to put a mask on in the store. I saw one with a man who was at the register and a customer behind him was like, can you put your mask on? And he's like, he's arguing everybody down about it, disrespectful, cussing people out. And these are the same people that'll be like, and I'm a Christian.
Yes.
And you're like, we need to talk through the what do you call it? The irony between I believe very strongly about something, not seeing that you get how you're not making sense. Like, you won't give yourself that, what do you call it? I'm trying to think of the word, but you'll say, I don't want the government telling me what to do. I'm against this, that. But when it comes to something else, it doesn't matter if you have facts. These are literally just things that you just want to believe are what they are. You got all the facts in the world. They said that there have been 11,000 new cases in Florida this week. Yesterday, just yesterday, 8,600 new plus new cases in Texas yesterday. Because you want to believe what you want to believe about what the coronavirus is or isn't, you decided I'm going to ignore the rules even the social rules, the ones that are just like out of courtesy at a certain point. It ain't like you're going to go to jail. But at the same time, it's like if we're saying right now we're in a state where people are dying and it's unknowns and all this thing, and we got the thing on the ground that says 6 feet, please respect the 6 feet, and you just because you don't believe it, you feel like you should just not have to follow the rule. That is some dang audacity. And it's rude.
I was getting ready to say something else from Amanda Seales, but I won't go there. But I definitely agree, and it's just disappointing. I mean, and I sat there and I was observing, like they were upset. Oh, we gotta have our masks, but they are fining people. You can be fined. So I'm wondering who will be fined.
Who's gonna fine them though?
That's what I'm thinking.
And that goes back to that whole policing conversation.
Yes.
Because the conversation really needs to be, why do we have police? What is the real reason why police are here? And if we're honest about that, then we could take the next steps on what should they be doing. We can go back to those days of slave patrol, which is what they were. And then we go back to, okay, now we revamp the message on who police are, and they're here to protect and serve. Who are they here to protect and serve? They're here to protect the people who live in good neighborhoods from the low-level poor people who may be trying to come into their neighborhood. We stop that, Things that are not really crime prevention. Because it's been a whole bunch of these cases where it was not a crime committed and police have been called to manage these situations. And typically they escalate them. They're not really, we go back 5 years ago when we had the McKinney incident, Texas, with the teenagers at the pool. And nothing but teenagers, kids 15, 16, 14 years old at a pool. One of the kids was having a party. They had all these other kids there. Somebody who was at the pool decided, oh, y'all don't live here. You don't need to be up in this. They decided who they thought didn't live there or deserved to be inside the pool. All this stuff. The police came there. Freaking like he was on the set of like Law and Order or one of those shows where he like tackling kids on the ground based on what? Because they're not supposed to be inside this pool. Like, this is the type of, slamming 15-year-old girls on the ground.
And his knee was on her back.
Exactly. I'm talking about just why do we feel like that's how the police should be handling situations? Like all these incidents where these people have been shot or killed, police brutality is happening way more than the killings that we see. Because of the way they treat citizens, period. I have not seen where it's like, oh, we're really here to, and I'm not saying that all cops are bad. The system itself is what I'm talking about. We're not talking about, I heard somebody describe it as, you can have all the organic ingredients possible to put a cake together, but if you put some dog, up in there, I don't care how pretty it is outside of all the other stuff, don't matter if you got that as in there. It's in there. It's in the system, right? It's in the full, it's all up in there, it's all up in there regardless. So that's really what we're really talking about. We're talking about why is it that we feel like it's okay if somebody, even if they're running away from the cops, to get shot in the back. Why do we think that's okay? Period. I don't care if you were drunk. I don't care what you were. If you're running away, why do we think it's okay? Even if you were committing a crime, why do we think it's okay to shoot somebody in the back? That alone, has been the source of some of this stuff where it's like, well, they weren't perfect. Okay, but did they deserve to get shot though? Is that we are allowing these people to be executors? They're not even supposed to be judges. They're supposed to come, report what's going on, right? Like they typically are like creating a report to document the situation. I'm the neutral
Yes,
party.
please.
Let's see what's going on. It's not up to me as the cop to judge who's telling the truth or not. I bring you into the system of justice for them to determine who was right or wrong. It's not for me at that point. I'm just being a vehicle in between to say, I hear your side, I hear your side. Let's address this in the way that it needs to be addressed. That's not what we're seeing, a majority of the time. So anyway, I went on a tangent on that, but that's typically to me. I feel like that's kind of where it's like a different conversation and it keeps getting deterred and distracted. We're getting on all this other stuff, that's not important. Did you see the thing where they said, they're putting a mural of Breonna Taylor on it was like a court, like a basketball court looking thing or whatever. And like, they're doing a mural. I'm about to, a mural with the cops, they're not arrested. One got fired. The other two are still getting paid. None of the cops that murdered this woman in her home have been arrested. We need to catch up on the Tatiana Jefferson's case still.
I know.
It's so much that has not. That's why we're feeling like we're feeling, because there is no consequence to killing us. There's all the consequences if it's the other way around. Then it's like, oh my God, Blue Lives Matter. Don't kill cops. Don't do none of them. But we see that they have no reason to not do it to us because they don't get justice. Justice is not served in these cases. So black on black crime, we pretty much know that if I do something to my brother, I'm going to jail. We know that. If I do something to my sister, I'm going to jail. We know that. But guess what? We don't know that when somebody does it to us, it doesn't happen in the equal.
It does not.
So that's the issue. And if anybody that acts like they don't know that that's true, you need to do some research, like go do the education, and find out what's really going on, because I think we've all been fed some stories that are not true.
Exactly.
Because just because you don't experience something doesn't mean it's not happening.
Correct.
If in your life all the cops have come over and they're like, yay, ha ha ha, we playing basketball with y'all in the middle of the street and all that stuff, that's awesome. But that's not happening for everybody. So let's talk about a majority of the citizens. That's what we need to really learn. So anyway, okay, sorry. I just feel like we need to say that.
No, I'm glad you did say that. I mean,
because I'm learning it as well.
Yeah.
I'm learning it as well.
And I'm with you. Like, we need a freaking database of the updates on the cops. Like, because the Artiana Jefferson, like, where is that? Like, what's the status?
We definitely need a database that has, we should be reporting this stuff all day, every day. Every time there's an incident, we need to have a database that puts the cops' names in there, the case numbers, the victims, the suspects, everything, where it's just like, oh, okay. And then we can pivot table, that out, right?
A cumulative and average of how many incidents do you have, and how frequent.
We typically are only seeing the ones where someone dies, and those are less, but they are high police brutality, way more of those. And what is considered police brutality is that, should you be it? Why are you body slamming this person? We need to be talking about all these things that are inappropriate means of, correcting a situation or whatever. So it's a lot of little stuff like that I'm even learning, and stop thinking all black people know everything. We don't know. We don't know. We all learning, but I definitely,
as you can see, we don't know all of our history either. So
exactly. So I'm gonna tell our listeners, who we mostly have black women listening to us. Let's start learning. Let's learn this stuff, because we need to know how to even have these conversations in a way where, if you just so happen to be the person that get called from your company or your neighborhood watch or your HOA, I don't know, whatever, like knowing what questions to ask and listening for those tricky little solutions that are not really solutions, like, singing the Black National Anthem in front at the season opener
to appease us,
right? And it's like, y'all should have been singing it, but that ain't the point. That ain't gonna do it either. Let's talk about the coaches. Let's talk about the franchises. Let's talk about who the owners are, who the head coaches that, the lack of black people being head coaches in the NFL. Let's talk about the players. I mean, there's a heck of stuff we could talk about in the NFL other than y'all singing the Black National Anthem like that. We're past that. We're on to some new stuff now. Those little things aren't enough. That's not gonna do it. Change,
Actual change.
real change, and also, yeah. So,
I digress. So we talked about the NFL. Kanye just
oh my God,
tweeted yesterday or mentioned that he's gonna run for president.
Girl.
But there isn't any evidence of him actually
submitting himself to the
yes.
Because I heard there's a lot of steps that have to happen for someone to come in. You're not represented by a party. You're not. I think they have to apply to be like for ballot access or something like that. And there's a lot of stuff. And I'm just like, why are you being a distraction right now? Because you're not really talking about nothing. What you're gonna do is try to divide the black vote.
I was gonna say it's probably a ploy as well, with all of the social injustice and like because we still like George Floyd, that still is an issue. I mean, companies have responded to it, but that's gonna take time and action.
You're trying to distract the vote. You're trying to divide the vote. Because clearly we know that he does not support, he's not a part of the Democratic agenda at all. So clearly if you're coming out, this is the person who wears Make America Great Again hats on regular. He's shown his support, for the president, and whether you vote Republican, Democrat, whatever, that's not the point. The point is you are trying to, because I've already seen Des Bryant respond to me. I'm voting for Kanye. Don't judge me on my vote. I ain't judging you on yours. What are you talking about? Like, see, there's going to be people who are just ignorant who may be like, well, I'm voting for Kanye, thinking that's cool because we keep saying vote, vote, vote. Where I'm voting, well, you don't understand that happens so much in politics where you'll have like, you have where even like the Green Party or, these other parties that we have that people, they get upset because they're like, well, you're taking votes away that could be going toward one of the other major parties that can push, change or whatever. Not saying that we can't have other parties, but if we're going to do that, we need to get way more organized on what that's going to be and how we're going to mobilize in that way. But this is just bull crap. I'm like,
and I don't want to spend too much energy on him because I don't even support
him. It's a distraction.
Yeah, it really is a distraction. And we need to make sure we're staying focused because I believe there will be more distractions to come.
Mm-hmm. We're just getting started. It's July. We only got a couple months left. They're about to go full force on some distractions.
Full force.
Which is another reason why I'm trying to educate myself as much as I can so that I can stay on alert and know what to do, how to do it, all that kind of stuff during this time of quarantine and, isolation, I would say, from, everything going on. I think there's value in this time. And you said something the other day about, we were talking about like loneliness and things like that. And I was like, girl, I am mastering this solo stuff. Like, I'm feeling like I'm mastering it. Not that I've mastered it. I'm trying to learn how to do this, and I've been really enjoying this time by myself and with my kids, but really asking myself the tough questions, sitting in it. You said some people need to sit in it, like you just sit up in it. Cause I was talking about somebody being lonely and you was like, well, sometimes you need to sit in that loneliness because it is a time that I think that God speaks to you. You learn about yourself. You start going through that whole thought process. What do I believe? What don't I believe? Like I've been having that, like where I'm challenging my dogmas and ideologies and all these things that I say I believe and I got all these strong opinions about, where I'm like, let me dive into this and find out, do you really believe that? Or is that just something that you were taught that you just started acting like it's such a big deal? I'm challenging myself in that way.
So yeah, sitting in it. I think a lot of times we try and run from whatever the issue is. and we don't take time to just sit. It's like sitting in some bath water. Sit in your dirty bath water and
Right.
figure out what is all of this. Like, why am I so dirty?
Right.
And the whole solitude part, especially people who maybe have been brought up around a lot of siblings. I have mastered that as an only child. And a lot of times I will find myself like daydreaming, dazing, and a lot of people always need to be on the go or just doing something. So right now, this is hard for them.
I told you that I feel like I was the only child too, because my sister, she's 5.5 years older than me, and we're just very different. Not one better than the other. We just are different. You know, we had 5.5 years is a big gap. You know, we love each other, but it was just like your life is doing this, mine is over here. I was in my own world most of the time. So I'm with you on that whole learning how to, I told you, I was like, when I was little, I was reading books. I would be playing with my Barbies or drawing or whatever. And some days my friends would come knocking on the door and be like, Canaries, come outside. And I'd be like, I'm good. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Like, I didn't feel like it. And some days I'd be like, I'm out here. And I'd be outside all day. I think that's what people are struggling with right now. It's like saying, oh, I don't have nothing else to distract me from life. I don't want to sit in this. I don't want to see.
I don't want to sit in my bath water.
I don't want to deal with all this, you know, that's going on. And you may need to.
And they say that you don't heal what you don't reveal. And sometimes this is the moment that where you have to reveal what it is so that you can get over it and heal from it. So, you know, next time when it come up, oh, I got this, I can get over it.
We need to deal with our own, man. I don't even want to say this, but racism, the root is an evil. There is an evil there. And we've all been, not even, I would say like the racist ideology, I won't call it, I guess ideology or whatever, but it's like that whole thought of you being better than somebody else because of your perceived perception of their lack. You know, I'm thinking like, okay, if I'm looking at somebody right now and they're like talking to me crazy because I'm a Black woman, they looking at me like I'm less than them. They may be thinking about it economically, socially, whatever those things are, but there are some things that we have that we do with that as well. So we got to start challenging those things that we feel about other people. We'll be over here fighting for justice for us, but we also are discriminated against other people or being a certain way. I think it's something to think about. And that's not an easy place to be either.
I agree.
So, yeah.
Which this weekend we were invited to be part of Virtual Connection, right? Hosted by Tiffany Ellis of Pods and PR.
And Shantae.
Oh, Shantae, the homegirl therapist.
The homegirl therapist.
Yes, I love that.
They have, Tiffany has a platform called Pods and PR. And last year they featured, so what they do is they'll listen to podcasts and then have a discussion about the subject matter of the podcast. We were featured as one of their podcasts last year, and we were able to join them. Was that this year when we went to the thing? I don't remember 2020 no more.
It's hard.
I don't remember 2020 anymore.
I don't either.
But I know we joined them at one of their events. It was amazing. They've been doing this thing called Virtual Connection every Friday, which they move into every other Friday. Going forward, talking about different things. So this week, last Friday, we were listening to, they featured We Are Meaningful podcast. And they've been talking about what? Burden of Proof.
Yep.
If you don't, if you never heard We Are Meaningful podcast, please check them out. Two great women who we've connected with, and they just do a great job.
They really did.
With their podcast. They have a theme every month, and they were doing one on Burden of Proof as it pertains to Black women.
That was their narrative for the month.
Yeah. I don't know if was it specific to Black women?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
If it wasn't for Black women, it was definitely for Blacks.
Period. Yeah.
But I believe
it was good.
Yeah.
So it was 16 of us on a Zoom call. and we went
I didn't
live.
even count.
I just kept seeing. I saw the participant number, and we went live last Friday talking about it. It was therapeutic. It was
very therapeutic.
It was triggering.
Very much so.
It was a lot, but I think it was good, and we all pretty much had the same thought about needing to do that more, just for our own support of each other.
So, with the burden of proof from the We Are Meaningful podcast, I did enjoy it because we talked about various things that were impacting Blacks, and it ended up being about Black women because out of all of these different categories per se, we talked about how each of these categories, how we're impacted. And it was good to see, well, I'm not gonna say it was good to see. It was good. It's not good. Right. But to know that other women have experienced this and that we're not alone, but then at the same time to know this is a problem.
Yes, that's usually the feeling. It's like I'm not alone, but the fact that I'm not alone lets me know that it's bigger. It's a bigger issue. We talked about our issues with our burden of proof when it comes to things that happen to us at work that are microaggressions, things, unfair treatment, things like that, lack of promotion, being fired for certain things or laid off or whatever. The burden of proof when it comes to school, and also parenting your children in a school that does not support them or looks at them a certain way from when they are in pre-K to when they are, graduating. It's just always us having to be the ones. I got to go in there. I got to make sure they know what kind of parent I am. I got to write the letters to all the teachers and the principals and be like there and involved like all the time. All that. The doctor's office, they think that we could take more pain than we could take. Oh. They're not giving us the medication we need to have. They're not giving us the treatment that we need to have. We have to be like adamant and make them document in our medical records like, oh, you're not going to give me that? Okay, can you document that in my medical records, please? Thank you. I want to see, like, we got to go through all of that to get treated like everyone else. Yeah. And back to, we talked about that last week, the strong Black woman thing.
Yeah, and it came up again, the strong Black syndrome, and I think that's been a theme lately with everything that's going on, because if you look at everything and go back, we are the root. We're upholding, we're marching, we're the ones, we're a lot of the central workers.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, and it's, we were listening to a conversation with Mark Lamont Hill and Jeff Johnson, really, two intelligent Black brothers that, man, they had a really great conversation, but they were talking about like how they acknowledge the exact same thing we're talking about right now. They were like, our sisters, they have our back like all the time. And a lot of the issue has been them even, how they deal with us is about what we can do for them a lot of times. It's not that often that what we're doing, like they just do for us when it ain't when there's nothing coming back to them. Correct. Not even just relationship, but just even in our friendship, we're giving to them. They're benefiting from that. They're benefiting from being around us. I had my rant last week. I'm like, I know, and I bring to the table, which is true though. And it's like, know. For us though, we have to be smart, and this is something that I've even had to be more conscious of, even in my friendships with men, is that, all right, Aries, be careful, because sometimes, because of just the nature of who you are, it's attractive. People are going to want to be around that. They're going to, and so you still got to be able to say, I'm not going that deep here because it's too much of an investment for me to give to you here. And it's okay to sit down and say no. And I think as Black women, that's something that is always, it's like if we say no, it's like, oh, you don't care about the brothers, or you don't care about the cause. No, I'm tired.
Right.
I'm tired. And of course we're going to, by our nature, we're going to contribute to whatever we're a part of, but it's okay sometimes for us to say no. I think we need to give ourselves permission to be like,
absolutely,
I'm at capacity.
Even
emotionally, mentally, spiritually, everything, whatever you want to put it.
Even in the pandemic.
Especially in the pandemic.
Even if people think you're available.
I don't care what you think. I'm not. If I'm not, I'm not. I don't care what anybody else thinks. And that's where we kind of got to get to. That's why you get into the root is hard. It feels crazy. It's going to feel like you're letting people down. But you got to challenge even those thoughts of like, I'm saying no because I don't want to. I don't want to. And you not wanting to is good enough.
And be okay with that, because remember what we talked about, the four agreements.
Mm-hmm.
People get offended when you say no, but don't take anything personal.
That's not my problem.
That's right.
That's for them to go read the book. Because if I say something to you right now, that's the truth, that I'm being, careful with my words. I'm not being rude or disrespectful. And I say, Kim, as your friend, and I say something to you and you're like, that hurt my feelings. That may be true. It doesn't necessarily mean that I shouldn't have said it. It just means that maybe you need to say like, dang, why did that hurt my feelings? Like something about what she's saying hurt my feelings. It's not that she said it because it's true, right? Let's say you acknowledge that it's the truth, but it hurts. It don't feel good. Right. And sometimes you just got to sit in that, right? And say, you know what? It don't feel good. I'm big on being like, you know what? I hear what you're saying. I hear you. I agree. I don't like what you're saying right now, but give me some time to go deal with that. I need to go sit with that because I know I'm irritated right now and I know that you're right, but I don't feel it ain't, you got to deal with those feelings, and then you can come back around and say, yeah, you were right about that. You were right about that. We don't like to be uncomfortable. That's a lot of the problems I think that most of us deal with, is that we want to be comfortable. It's comfortable to be rude and talk to people crazy and be racist. Mm-hmm. That's comfortable. It's comfortable to be a male chauvinist or a, someone who is a segregationist, or whatever. It's comfortable to say, I just only want to be in a state of comfort at all times. I don't care. I don't want to have to do the work. Is it right? No. Are you going to feel like you're thriving by doing that? No, it's not. I don't want to teach my kids that.
Good.
That's helping me, to me thinking about what kind of children I'm producing by how I'm raising them. Ooh. is helping me to challenge my own comfort in certain things.
And I appreciate that. Same, because I'm trying to raise a good human being.
Yep. That's the key. I'm like, what do I want my sons to be saying? When they are on their own without me and someone asks them about something that's, about racism or equality or anything like that, like what are they going to be saying? And I want it to be something that is true to how they were raised, how they, how they feel, how they think, and those be the purest thoughts possible. It's going to have a lot to do with your relationship with God, how you feel about him. I think that starts there, because a lot of this is just straight up evil. Period.
I love it. So I guess the focus of this podcast is about the strong Black woman and how I feel like the strong Black woman is the demise of the Black woman, because we go unheard and they think we're so strong, and it's really hurting us. It's not helping us.
It's hurting us.
So as part of that, we need to establish boundaries, right? It's like you said, going back to what you said, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no to your husband, your kids. Say no for yourself.
Yep. Your own sanity.
And in this time, even though you're at home and, you're with the kids, this might be a time where you say, no, let me go work on my hobby, or let me go out here and find some joy. Well, that might be like you do. You go out there and sit and go read. I go for a walk every day. I think we need to find something to occupy those thoughts. So while you sitting in it, like when I go out and I walk, Like I sat by the water and I just read my Bible plans. You know, that was therapeutic. Get out the house, leave those kids and those husbands at the house, and just go walk.
When my kids, when I divorced my husband, that was 7 years ago. So LJ had just turned 4 and Marvin had just turned 2. They were very young. And a lot of parents, when they go through that, they give themselves kind of get on a guilt trip based upon their relationship with the co-parent. A lot of times you be like, you didn't come to the game, or you didn't take them to practice, or you didn't do this. And I made established very early on that I forgave myself before it was even a chance. Like, I'm going to prioritize things. And I tell my kids, I'll be like, I will get to your thing when I'm done doing what I need to do for me. Because you got to put your mask on first.
Yes.
You know, you got to do, I can't be a good mother to you if I haven't taken care of myself, period. So my kids know, I'm like, this is my time. It's not about you right now. You know, like, I'm super clear about that, because I think that they need to understand that. And that's going to make them adults that respect people's time and respect that I don't jump when you say jump.
Yes.
You know, like, I'm like, okay, I hear you. You want that done right now? Well, you're going to have to wait if it relies on me to be the one to do it, because I'm busy. You know, and when I get time, I will do it for you. But if you can't wait, you can go take care of it yourself. Like, literally, that's how I talk to my kids.
Well, no, and
I
I
don't feel
appreciate
guilty.
that. You know why? Because for their future wife, they won't be waiting on them. They will be ready to take initiative. Like, okay, you know what? She might be busy, but I have these life skills where I can go in and make us a grilled cheese sandwich or something.
Consideration.
Right? Correct. It is
It
not
creates
always all about me either.
They'll be like, babe, when you get a chance, I know you're busy right now. Can you do such and such and such? They'll respect their wife.
Yes.
Their partner, you know, whoever they're with. So, yeah, say no. Say no, girl.
Say no.
Say no, girl.
Say no and find you a hobby.
Look, the year of no.
Right. I tell people that too. I was like, you know, I read that book, The Year of Yes, but I quickly pivot the following year. I was like, you know what? That was too many yeses.
Right.
And so now I'm going for the year of no, because no will open up for a good yes.
I'm lowering all my responsibilities this year. I was like, by December, I will have gotten off of some boards. I will have gotten off of something, and then I'm going to focus my attention on the things that are going in alignment with my purpose. That's going to be Bold Black Girl stuff. That's going to be my work, you know, and now I'm a full-time, I'm going to be a homeschool mom, you know, because we're about to transition into this remote learning thing in the fall. And so I got other priorities, you know, that I need to put my attention on. So get that hobby together.
And learn how to say no.
Get you some book lists, you know, to start reading and educating yourself, or going online and Audible or checking out stuff from your local library that you can pick up, you know.
Or Overdrive, the free electronic books.
Ebooks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think I like that as the call to action, Kim. It's okay to say no. Say no. Set them boundaries. And maybe even just finding a hobby, something that's just fun. You might
color.
Sometimes I painted last week.
Yes, and you had a nice painting.
Thank you. I did. It was paint by number, but still. It wasn't as easy as I thought, though. I was like, shoot, this is taking a while. And I'm a perfectionist too, so I was like trying to fix it and do stuff. I'm like, oh my God, it took a while. But yeah, it's just some things you just take time for yourself.
Take time for you.
That's going to be a call to action every week, but
take time for yourself to find some joy, because while we are seeking justice, we don't want to neglect the joy that we need, because you have to refuel in order to go get that justice. And so without joy, you won't have the energy to go seek justice.
And I can't hear you say joy without saying where joy comes from. The Bible says that it's given to you by God. Your joy is given to you by God. You cannot create it. It's given. I would pray about that. Pray about, happiness is a temporary feeling. Joy is something that can be there constantly, regardless of the situation, regardless of what you're going through. That's why you see people that could be going through things and they are still full of joy, even though the situation outside of them is not great. There's ways that you can keep joy even during a pandemic, even during a racial pandemic, and all these things. Don't have a spiritual pandemic. Focus on your spiritual life and really getting that vertical relationship and that internal relationship, together. And it's gonna pour over into every other area in your life. So, any other final words you got, Kim?
Nope, that's all I have.
I hear you typing, so nope, I'm like, what's she doing?
That's
like I'm hearing her typing over here.
No, look, my fingers are. I have another laptop under this, so I was just tapping away. Like when you said joy,
I'm like, I can hear you.
I try and find me some joy every day, joy and gratitude, and I've been journaling a lot every day. So that's really. And now I'm thinking to myself, like I'm doing this 100 days of journaling, and so when I go back and look, I will see everything that I've kind of was going through from the start of the pandemic. Past, and we're almost past 100 days.
That's crazy. I have a little bit of journaling that I've done since March. Like I go probably, I don't know, every 3 weeks or so, I probably go in there. I have to have like a certain amount of energy and
I just get up and do it every morning or before I go to bed. I just dedicate like 10 minutes. But my journal has like a scripture on the side or scriptures, and it's like a little summary about the scriptures. So that's helped me.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. It's good to look back on stuff too, to see like where you were mentally and where you are now and all that kind of stuff. So that's cute. I like that. Hey, get you a journal, y'all. Journal about what you got going on. We are at July already, people.
Ooh.
It has snuck up on us. And I can't even believe it.
I can't either.
In 2020. We are in July of 2020 already. But that also means that we have some weeks and we will be at our 1 year mark almost of doing this podcast. I can't even believe it.
I can't either.
So yeah, support the podcast by please purchasing a t-shirt. I have reduced the price on those. And BoldBlackGirls.com. Support the potty by getting your t-shirt. Check out our resource tab where we put a couple links to things. Support those books that we listed. That is a Black-owned bookstore that it links to. Mark Lamont Hill's bookstore. And subscribe, rate, and review. Share with a friend. I kind of have this personal goal of getting us 3,000 downloads before our 1 year anniversary.
Okay.
So if you're listening still to this podcast, share it with multiple friends. Tell them to subscribe. I think we could do it because I feel like
anything is possible.
I just want to get us to 10,000 downloads in a year, and we're almost there. So if you can share with some friends our podcast, that would be great. And anything else? What else you got?
That's it.
Be bold and courageous. This is like a great time to start being honest and stepping out and walking in your purpose and your, setting those boundaries and being authentic and also being vulnerable. So that means being bold and courageous. It takes boldness and courage to do a lot of the things that need to be done right now. So that's all I got too. All right.
Peace.
Have a bold week. See ya.